Monzón is a small city in the autonomous community of Aragon, Spain. Its population was 17,176 as of 2014. It is in the northeast and adjoins the rivers Cinca and Sosa. Historical overview. Prehistory and Old Age. The first signs of constant human occupation in the area of Monzón come from Neolithic. There have been found some archaeological remains of that era on the deposits Sosiles Altos and Peñalucas. Most vestiges of civilization come from the Bronze Age, where it is assumed that people settled in the area between the rivers Cinca, Sosa and Clama. The Elegites were the people occupying these areas, who were defeated in the 3rd century BC, producing the Romanization of the area from the 2nd century BC. In the hills of the Ermita de la Alegria and the Cells were found remains of Roman dwellings, being this area a key point in their connections from the cities of Caesarea Augusta or Osca with Italy. Middle Ages Muslim era. At the time of Muslim domination, Monzón was disputed by the Banu Sabrit from Huesca and Banu Qasi from Zaragoza. It belonged to the Banu Hud in the 11th century and was taken by El Cid in 1083. The Christians were interested to conquer Monzón in order to cut communications between the Taifa kingdoms of Zaragoza and Lleida. The infant Pedro I reconquered Monzón in 1089 during the reign of his father Sancho Ramirez. Sancho Ramirez created the kingdom of Monzón for the infant future Pedro I before he became king of Aragon. This situation lasted until 1126, when it reverted to Muslim hands for 4 years. Between 1130 and 1136 it was held by Christians, who lost the town in the period 1136 to 1141 to finally win her back. 1143 happened to belong to the Templars. Christian era. The Cathedral de Santa Maria del Romeral grew from the 9th century to del Homnaya, which hosted kings and nobles. Here in 1109 Urraca of Castile married her second husband Alfonso I despite the Church's objections concerning consanguinity. During medieval times, Monzón was a stronghold of the Knights Templar because of its strategic location between the Segre and Cinca valleys. It was also as an important center for joint legislative sessions for the various segments of Aragon, especially between the 13th and 17th centuries because of its location between Zaragoza and Barcelona. During the 12th century, Monzón was ruled by the infant Ramiro de Navarre, Tizon and Garcia Ramirez before his proclamation as King of Navarre, among others. When in 1143 the Knights Templar assigns its rights to the Crown of Aragon, receives in exchange the castle of Monzón, among others, where the main task of the Crown of Aragon happened. The most historically important event in this period is the enforced residence of James I, who spent part of his youth Monzón. After his father Peter II died in the Battle of Muret, the Knights Templar in Monzón served as the young king's guardians and tutors. When the Pope Clement V extinguishes the Knights Templar, some parcels like Monzón resisted, and it was not until 1309 when it was conquered. In 1317 passes to Sanjuanista's hands, although the hosts will lose its power gradually. Monzón also hosted numerous times the Cortes of the Crown of Aragon, between the 13th to 17th centuries. The Cathedral of Santa Maria del Romeral of Romanesque and the castle with its origins in the 9th century welcomed the king and his nobles. Modern and contemporary age. In this town the Cardinal Richelieu and Gaspar de Guzman, Count Duke of Olivares, signed a treaty here, ending the conflict over Valtelene in 16 1626. During the Catalan revolt, Monzón was taken by the French Catalan troops run by Philippe de la Motte Houdancourt in 1642, and, the following year, by the Castilian troops of Felipe da Silva. The castle of Monzón is considered a strategic enclave, was also occupied by the French during the War of Independence and recovered in 1814 as national cause by the troops of General Copons in a bold ploy due to the Spanish military of Flemish origins John van Halen, later Lieutenant General, who had conquered Lleida and Mequinenza by the same way. Industry and communications. The industrial tradition of Monzón began early in the 20th century with the construction of a sugar factory which later was moved to Jerez de la Frontera. After the Spanish Civil War, some new industries were incorporated, such Hydro-Nitro-Spanish, Escondel, Etino-Química Polidux, Monsanto Escondel, among others. It also appeared a factory wire, nails and corrugated. This industrialization was possible thanks to the geographical situation of the town, an hour and a half far from the border and Zaragoza, as well as by its good communications such as roads linking with Zaragoza and Lleida, the highway communicating with Pamplona, and the railway line that communicates with Barcelona, northern Spain, and Zaragoza and Lleida to connect with the avenue, the high-speed train. Culture. The music is represented by Grupo Folclórico de Nuestra Señora de la Alegría, municipal band La Lira, the choral Montezonense, and the Conservatory of Music Miguel Fleta, that have come new groups like Ensemble 21. Within the panorama of rock, there are large groups such as those of black metal like Ouija, Temple, Abattoir, and Spellcraft. In other aspects of the culture of Monzón highlight the numerous fairs like the Aragonese Book or FLA Retracts and the Art Fair Artery. There are also noteworthy various contests of painting and narrative, as well as several cultural concentrations of various kinds, and the Feast of St. Barbara Martyr, in which it is performed, the traditional Bautizo del Alcalde, and the festivities in honor of St. Matthew during the week of September 21st, and pilgrimage that achieves Easter Monday to the Ermita de la Alegría. Famous sports players and athletes. Monzón has been home to great sportsmen and women well known to the Aragonese and the world. Among them Conchita Martinez, the only Spanish woman to win Wimbledon, and Alicia Martin, bronze medal winner in the 3,000-meter steeplechase in the Paris World Championships, the only non-African athlete to get a medal in those championships since 1993. Monzón has been home to Olympic athletes, including Javier Maracho, Spanish record holder for almost 20 years, the decathlete Alvaro Burrell, and the renowned pole vaulter Javier Gazal. Hydrology. Monzón is crossed by the rivers Sosa and Cinca. The latter is the most important because it has higher flow thanks to the amount of snow in its head. In the first one, despite its very little flow, it is remarkable the engineering work in siphon of the Sosa, a beautiful viaduct over the river which flows the Aragon and Catalonia Canal, which was inaugurated in early 20th century by King Alfonso XIII to extend irrigation to the eastern part of the province. Monzón is one of the largest agricultural and industrial populations in the region thanks to the Aragon and Catalonia Canal. Places of interest: El Castillo Templario, La Catedral de Santa María del Romeral, El Convento de San Francisco, La Ermita de la Virgen de la Alegría, Major House, La Puerta de Luzon. Notable people from Monzón: Alicia Martin, long-distance runner specialized in 3,000 meters steeplechase. Conchita Martinez, former tennis player and Wimbledon champion in 1994. José Luis Mumbiela Sierra, Roman Catholic clergyman and Bishop of the Holy Trinity Diocese in Almaty. Javier Maracho, retired hurdler, winner at the European Indoor Championships in 1986 and silver medal winner at the inaugural World Indoor Games in 1985. Baron de Rolls, lawyer and philanthropist who brought to Monzón one of the first X-ray machines in Spain. Reverendos Vicente Pilzano y Alexandra Ezquerra. Before the 18th century, he wrote important chronicles about the city. Ignacio de Lozoya. His poetry is studied in universities all around the world. José Morda Fuentes y Blasquez, naval engineer and writer, author of books including La Serafina, La Fonda de Paris, El Calavera, A la Muerte de Lord Byron, and Los Nuevos Desengaños. Joaquín Costa y Martínez, one of the greatest men of the Regeneracionismo. He developed theories about education, water management and agricultural politics that were followed throughout the 20th century. Oligarquía y Caciquism is one of his best books. Mariano de Pano y Ruita. He was president of the Ateneo and Academia de Bellas Artes de San Luis. He was the official chronicler of the Monasterio de Siena and of the Real Academia de la Historia. His best books are Las Coplas del Peregrino, Puy de Monzón, Viaje a la Meca en el siglo XVI, and La Condesa de Beretta Doña Consolación tras Law. Joaquín de Pano y Ruita, engineer, ornithologist, philolog, translator of several languages, including Chinese and Japanese. He designed bridges in Monzón, and one of them served as the model for bridges in Zaragoza. Ramiro Sanchez of Monzón, Lord of Monzón and Logroño and father of Garcia Ramirez of Navarre. John of Monzón, Dominican theologian and controversialist. Elijah ben Joseph Chabillo, philosopher and translator, c.e.